So hello and welcome to the 13th episode of the Living the Dream podcast, a podcast for real estate agents that discusses strategies to grow your business to its maximum potential, while at the same time making sure that you're in control of your career and have the time to live a balanced life. So I'm Linus Kilius, head of business development at Homania. With me as always is the co-host of the podcast and broker and general manager of Century 21 Heritage Group, Aaron Richardson. Aaron, it's been a while since we've done one of these. How you been doing?
Good. Super busy. Everything's going crazy, right? The world's going crazy. Our business is taken off, and we thought there was going to be a little downturn, then it shot up again, and it's kind of all over the place right now. So we've been extremely busy at the brokerage level, but super excited to have Jas on today.
Yeah, me too. So speaking of Jas, we've got an amazing guest on the show today, and one thing we want to talk about on the show today is actually success. Now, like, everyone wants to be successful, right? Like, that's what moms and dads around the world have been hammering into their children since the dawn of time. One of the big questions is, what is success? Is it financial success? Can you measure success in dollars? I don't know, maybe. What about happiness? Can you measure? It's harder to measure happiness, but if you're happy with yourself and the life you lead, is that success? I don't know. But you know what? I might not know how to measure it or how to even define it, but I know someone who is successful, and that's the guest on our show today, Jas Takhar, one of the liveliest people you're ever going to meet. He's always full of energy. He's got an incredible personality. He's really personable as well. And I honestly think he has life figured out. He's been in the real estate industry for somewhere around 16 years or so, I've heard. He's the owner of REC Canada, a real estate center for sales and consultation with a team of over 50 people. Correct me if I'm wrong again, Jas. He's an author, a podcast host, a real estate investor. Damn, Jas. Is there anything you don't do? Welcome to the show, bud.
Well, thank you for having me, first and foremost, and great job with the introduction. But you left something out for the listeners. They can't see it. I'm a good-looking guy, too. Like, you did leave that part out. You did leave that part out. I do appreciate, again, you having me. Thank you so much for the kind words. But, yeah, you were bang on there, Linus. I mean, 50 realtors on our team, myself and my business partner, and 11 support staff, 16 years in the real estate business, but really the industry that I owe everything to, and real estate is a huge part of my life and has been a huge part. But for me, it's the sales industry that I've been part of now for 26 years. You know, I was that kid at 6 and 7 putting up my hand and saying, eager to just be part of the book fair, the bake sale, or go knock on doors to sell Christmas ornaments. I think looking back, a lot of it had to do with the fact I just want to get out of class because I just didn't learn that way. That wasn't my style. But yeah, first paying job was a traditional newspaper route, and I got addicted. Like, it was the best drug for me in the world. I got addicted to working and kind of getting paid to, like, make friends. It was kind of cool for me I understood it at a very young age. So for me, I mean, I owe so much to the sales industry. It's the only job, quote unquote, off that I've ever had. I've never done anything else. In fact, even till this day, I think I'm okay to say, and I'm self-aware enough to say that I probably suck at 97% of things, but it's that 3% that ability to connect with people, that wanting to influence people in a very ethical way, right? I just love it. I love meeting new people, finding out what their motivation is, and seeing how I can bring value.
Yeah, it's good to be self-aware, and I feel like a lot of people don't have that or take a long time to develop that skill, right? To, like, know where their strengths are. Like, just the fact that you said, I suck at 97% of things and I'm amazing at the other 3% is awesome to hear.
Yeah, and I don't mean that from like an egotistical perspective, right? Like, I know, in fact, look, I would be an idiot if I didn't pick up on some patterns along the way of these past 26 years, right? Like, I kind of understand, hey, you meet somebody, if you put on a smile, chances are you're going to brighten their day as well, right? You might not change their life, and that's not what I'm trying to do with every single person at every single time. But look, I might brighten someone's day, and it might make it a little bit easier for them to possibly want to do business with me, right? So that's a pattern that I picked on very, very early on, probably from the third door that I knocked on when I was selling newspapers, right? But I also now know that, like, there's a bunch of shelves behind me here, like. Everyone around my team knows, don't put a hammer in Jazz's hands. Like, I have no clue what the heck I'm doing with it. It's not who I am. But that helps me so much, because you mentioned investor. I think first and foremost, that's what I am in the real estate world. Like, I like to invest into properties, but I don't go and do the flips. So when somebody brings a flip to me, and I know tons of clients, hundreds, if not thousands of clients that have made millions of dollars on flips. But for me, I know that's probably going to get me in trouble, because I just don't have the stomach for it. I'm not the guy who's going to go and fix stuff. So I go do the boring, watching paint dry, watching grass grow type of investments, purchase a new build and just watch that thing grow, and then rent out a little 500 square foot condo. Is it making me the returns that someone on a flip is earning? No, but I know myself, right? So, you said it yourself, Linus. I mean, I like being self-aware has really, I don't know if you guys ever watched that game Price is Right. That one of the games in Price is Right was that Plinko chip, and you drop it from the top and you see it go all over the place. Like, being self-aware is being at the top of that Plinko board, right? And just it gives you so much clarity. It does for me, anyways.
Would you say investment? Very much, because I was going to ask you a question about investment. What would you, given the market conditions and the price of homes and everything that's gone up so much, should I buy on a high? Or everybody tells me to buy on a low, right? So, but you had said something that kind of struck a chord too. Is it more about the investor as what they get into as much as the investment?
For sure.
Right. And like you said, I mean, you're not buying necessarily fix up and flips. Is that an industry right now that's, not a lot of people are going into because of the price, but maybe it's a great time to get into it because it is going up so much. Like, where do you see currently the market? And if you were going to, give some suggestions of something to look at right now based on the current market conditions, what would that be?
And if you can add another Price is Right metaphor, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. I'll try. Look, I mean, I'm no Bob Barker in terms of picking what the price is going to be. I tried there for you, Linus. I'll just leave that.
I know
one
you're
with
trying
me,
so hard.
Look, to your point, to your question, Aaron, I think first and foremost, as an investor, and again, this is my opinion, my team and I help a little over 650 buyers, sellers, and investors every year. I'm not telling anybody who's watching or listening to impress them by any means, more to impress upon them where the data is coming from, where my opinions are coming from. And out of that 650, I'm going to say it's safe to say that about 300 are with investors and all types of investors. And what I speak to them about, and the 20 to 23 pieces of content that I put out on a daily basis on all the platforms, I speak about long-term wealth creation and having real estate being that vehicle for you. Because in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, so for your out of province and out of country viewers and listeners, that's a 50-mile/75 kilometer radius, right? We have approximately 6.6 million people here. We have about a couple of 100,000 people coming year over year for the next 10 years. So it's safe to say, even with the lockdown that we're currently in at the time of this recording, it's safe to say we're going to have close to 2 million people in the Greater Toronto Area. Now, with that many people coming, there's one thing that the government hasn't figured out, and this is not a political rant. In fact, like I don't even envy them for the problem that we have, which is on the supply side. We just don't have enough inventory on the market, but more importantly, coming on the market. Why? Because we're on this like real estate island. You can't build to the south of us because we have the lake. Haven't figured out what Dubai has and be able to build on water. And then on the northern part of the Greater Toronto Area, we have what's called and known as the Greenbelt legislation. It restricts builders to develop on this land. So now as an investor, it's quite simple and quite basic for me. There's a lot of people coming in, a lot of demand, but not a lot of supply. That will always Economics 101, that will always drive prices high. I mean, we get the question all the time. And Aaron, I mean, you being a broker and a manager, you know this, and I'm sure your colleagues speak about it all the time. Like, how long is this going to go for? Well, this is going to go for as long as people keep on coming here, right? Because if you look, and history being maybe our only teacher, but definitely the best teacher, for the past 10 years, for the past 100 years, big sample size, every decade, so every 10 years on average, prices double. So now having all this knowledge and having all this data, yes, you can chase that quick cash flow or the quick dollar in buying and flipping and then paying taxes on it. But to me, that's not wealth creation. Wealth creation consists of cash flow, passive appreciation, principal pay down, forced appreciation, like could you add an income suite? What could you do to the kitchen? And then number one, especially living in Canada, is tax strategies. What's the tax benefit? So if I do sell, yeah, I'm going to be paying big time, like I'm going to be paying big taxes. But if I hold on and just refinance my properties, it's the only legal way not to pay taxes, right? And so I'm always from the ilk of buying, renting out, holding on with dear life and refinancing along the way. Is that the strategy for everyone? No, not even close. But it definitely works really well for me because I have a day job. So I don't need a lot of cash flow to cover my expenses, my lifestyle. I mean, again, your listeners can't see, but I wear a t-shirt and a hoodie every single day to work, right? And so, yes, being an investor and being a broker, I still get away with it. But I don't have a fancy lifestyle, so my bills are covered with my day job. For me, it's all this long-term wealth that I'm growing in my portfolio.
Just to be a bit of a devil's advocate, because I like to try and look at the other side of it too. Like, I know it's a very common question and it comes up all the time. Everyone's like, okay, well, it's going up, it's going up. There has to be a ceiling. And yeah, supply and demand makes sense, but eventually there becomes a cost of living issue. If prices are outscaling just standard cost of living like increases, eventually you're going to get to a point where just people just can't live there anymore, and things are going to have to come down to kind of match that, even though you have issues with inventory, supply and demand, and everything. Like, what's your argument for that side of the coin? Because I'm sure that's probably the most common argument against that you'd probably hear.
Definitely. So what I think is going to start to happen, and we've already seen it in, again, downtown Toronto and maybe like a I would call it like a 10-kilometer radius out of downtown Toronto. But we've seen it everywhere else in the world. Any major downtown area of a major city, Manhattan, London, Paris, Hong Kong, majority of the people who live there don't own. They rent. They're renters, right? That's why they pay rent. I mean, for a 500 square foot condo in Manhattan right now, you're probably paying upwards of about $3,000 a month, right? Before the pandemic, a downtown Toronto condo, 1 bedroom, 500 square feet was already at $2,500. Now, we had this a splurge of people leaving downtown Toronto because they were scared about maybe living in condos and pressing buttons with other people in the elevators. We've already seen a lot of people come back. So my answer to your question there, Linus, would be yes, we're not going to have as many people owning, but they're still going to need to live downtown and very close to transit, because that's where all the jobs are. So most people will always want to live close to where they work, and definitely, within a 500-meter walk to a major transit hub, subway, GO Transit, some type of light rail transit. And so as long as you have renters, you have people coming in, they won't be able to purchase, but they'll be able to rent. They have to rent, right? And so as an investor, it's actually music to my ears. I love that a lot of, like, if interest rates even go up, like, I mean, right now, we're a 5-year fixed here in Ontario anyways, a 5-year fixed mortgage, you can get for about 1.4, 1.5%. It's almost free. About 12 years ago, I bought my first home and I paid 4.5%. I left that bank like I robbed it. Like, that's how happy I was at 4.5%. But as rates, even if they start to increase, it's actually great news as an investor, because the guys and gals that were tenants thinking about purchasing, well, the cost of borrowing just increased. They can't purchase. So what do? They rent. Hence why, for me, investing into real estate is by far for me, the best vehicle to create wealth.
Definitely. I love how one thing I've always been a proponent of too with real estate investments as opposed to other investments. Not only can they appreciate and value themselves, but they can also work for you. Like, you got the renters coming in, getting that fixed income coming in on a constant basis, right? So I've always been a big proponent of that. I guess most people in real estate probably listening to this too are of the same ilk as well. So just to, Aaron, do you have something you want to?
Well, yeah, I wanted to find a little bit more about REC. Maybe get off a little topic there with regards to investment and go into a different category of the many things that you do. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing there.
Yeah, so REC, it stands for Real Estate Center. It's the full company is REC Canada, but it does stand for Real Estate Center. We want it to be cool and abbreviate it like the kids do everything. A couple of years and we changed it to REC. Again, it consists of 50 real estate agents covering that greater Toronto area. We have 11 support staff, which consists of admin staff along with my personal media squad that creates all the content. So about 16 years ago, to be exact, there was a gentleman who I met who was one of the top real estate brokers here in the city of Toronto. He also was a trainer, a sales trainer for brokerages as well. And I just happened to bump into him. How life kind of works out. I was with a different company. Saw a fax come through, and anyone I guess under 30 is like, what the heck is a fax? But yeah, a fax came through. It was like an email, and it said free business development seminar. And I was just getting into the business, not making any money, and I was like, wow, I see free. Like, being of East Indian descent, my mother negotiates over apples back home. I saw that word free. I ran there and checked it out right away, and saw this guy speak and just really resonated with him. He owned this company. And I then became partner a few years later. I had a third partner came and got involved with REC as well. But the original founder passed away about almost 4 years. 4 years next month. He passed away, and so now it's myself, my current business partner, Simos, and we have the 50 agents and 11 support staff.
And tell me about the training aspect and coaching and what you're doing there.
So I wouldn't call myself like a real estate coach or or a trainer of that sense. Not that there's anything wrong with those business models. I'm just not one of them. I truly want to just give back to the industry right now.
Wow.
And again, not just the real estate industry, it's the sales industry, because it's given me everything I have. I mean, I'm a kid from Rexdale. It's a northern part of Toronto. You don't have a lot of people to look up to. Luckily, in my house, though, 2 older brothers, my father and mother, taxi driver father, factory worker mother. Like, I just saw them work really hard, and we had a very close-knit family, and we still do. Lots of love. Like, I'm the youngest, and so that's always a healthy reminder when you have 2 older brothers that you're closer to the bottom than you are to the top. But they just poured into me, and now I figured something out about 3-4 years ago. The massive amount of content that I started to produce, it really started to make me think of, okay, hey, I'm not a salesperson anymore. I really need to take this personal brand to the next level, which allows me to be top of funnel. And when people come into my wheelhouse, they see me on Instagram or on YouTube or on my podcast, whatever it is, hear me on this podcast, hear me on this show, watch me on this show, then they get to make a decision. They get to say, okay, you know what? I kind of like the crazy Indian guy who waves his hands all the time. I like his energy. Or, you know what, I'm not really feeling him because I don't like the fact that he wears a t-shirt and maybe wears a hoodie and he talks about investing in real estate. And either or is great, because if you're not going to resonate with me, at one point, the true me is going to come out anyway. So why don't we just get rid of that up front? And because I figured that out, like, the pie's big enough. We can all eat. And truly, I think, other than investing into real estate, what we were talking about a little while ago, if you want to create wealth, one of the best ways to do it is get other people more of what they want. And so I'm just playing in that game now. Like, I have, my cup's full. It's overflowing. It's time for me to give back.
Well, it's interesting. I was listening to some of your content that you have everywhere, and very impressive. And I do like your style. And one of the things that resonated with me was, I got pulled aside at one point in time, maybe 15, 20 years ago, and I was managing at the time for a large box retailer before I got into real estate. And pulled me and says, Aaron, one thing you could work on, and we all look to work on things. He says, is ready, aim, fire. He says, you do more ready, fire, aim, and really, maybe sit down and calculate things before you put things into place. And I'm, of course, D personality. I like to try different things and see if it sticks and, all the rest of it. And I heard you speak on one of your, I don't know if it's a podcast or just some information about yourself. And you brought up ready, fire, aim. And I was like, oh, I got to listen to this guy. So tell me what that was all about. Tell me.
So ready, fire, aim. That all came about just realizing that. Look, I'm a sports guy. Played a lot of sports. Definitely, just watched all the sports. But football, hockey, basketball, soccer are kind of the ones that I really relate to. And speed generally wins in those sports. If you look back in the last 20, 30 years, some would say defense wins championships, and it definitely helps. But you'll see, like, the guys and the gals that are fast in these sports, the teams that are fast, they generally win. And in business, for me, it's the same thing. The faster you can do stuff, the quicker you'll get feedback, and feedback from the people that really matter. I truly care about what my team thinks of me and what they say and how we're doing. But at the end of the day, it really matters what the marketplace is saying. And so how do you get massive amount of feedback? Well, just continuously do things. Start firing. Start pulling the trigger. And I think, look, someone's listening and watching and they're saying, what the heck are you guys talking about? You're supposed to always look before you leap. Or make sure that you aim and you see the target before you pull the trigger. Well, I'm here to tell you, here's what's worked for me. And for you, obviously, Aaron, it's worked very well for you, that pull the trigger and pull it often. Why? Because you can aim and adjust along the way. It's going to be a lot easier to figure out if you're too far to the left, too far to the right, too far up, too far down, only by actually pulling the trigger. There's a massive sign above my head, actually, that says ready, fire, aim, just to remind us at all times, hey, keep pulling the trigger, because we're not looking to be perfect. And so the next best thing after that is to move the needle ever so slightly every single day in the right direction.
Yeah, with all the content you put out there, you're obviously firing a lot, and this has got to take up a ton of your time. That's one thing I'm always curious about when I talk to people. I'm like, this man looks like he's got to be one of the busiest people I've ever seen. How do you manage it? Do you have time to lead like a personal life too, or is it just all work all the time?
Yeah, no, definitely. So first and foremost, I appreciate the kind words from both of you guys about the content, because, you put it out there, especially with a podcast that has no video sometimes. Mine does, but I know others don't, where you're speaking to this mic, you don't know who's on the other side. And so when you get feedback and someone tells you that it's resonating, it really means a lot. So thank you to you guys. The one thing that people don't see on my content is my personal life. I've been married now, coming up to actually 13 is my lucky number. So my wife told me, you better remember this year, in the next couple of years, next couple of weeks, actually. I have two little boys, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. I speak about them a lot, but I don't really show them on the content. And that's just a personal, like our personal take on it, mine and my wife's, that we decided that we're not going to showcase and show them until they're ready. It's 7 and 5. My 7-year-old, even if you take a picture of him, he wants to see it. He doesn't like if you show it to put it out in chat groups with the family. And so we saw that earlier in him. And my 5-year-old, I think, is very like close to me. He wants to be in every, like if he was here right now in early pandemic and lockdown, he was running into the videos naked. Like he just doesn't care, right? And so I said, okay, yeah, maybe we'll hold off on him as well. But if there's anyone who's going to take my seat, I think it's going to be the 5-year-old. But we just decided not to show them. But I kind of put my big rocks in place first, and in my schedule. And what I mean by that is all day Sunday I'm off. Like if there's a massive fire I got to put out from a business perspective, I will on a Sunday. But I'm like from morning to night, I'm done. Maybe at around 9 p.m. I'll start to I become maybe closer to 8 p.m. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably closer to 8 p.m. on a Sunday. I become that caged animal. Like I'm ready to go again. Saturdays, after about 3 o'clock, shut down. So I come into the office maybe about 10 to 3 on a Saturday. Fridays, I try my best to get out of here around 5 o'clock. So I'm home by about 5:45, 6 p.m. And then Monday to Thursday, I'm here 13, 14 hours, right? Like I usually get in around 7:30. I'm probably here till like 9:30. Sometimes I'm here only till maybe 7, but then I go home and I'm working till 11:30, midnight. But I put the big rocks in place first. Those are non-negotiable for me. I won't do an offer on a Sunday. Someone on my team will. I have to take care of a massive fire because a client is livid about something. I'll get on a call. But yeah, so that's how that's what I would recommend to people. That's what's worked well for me. I make sure that that's taken care of first. For me, that's pedestal stuff. Like as long as my kids and my family is good, then I have to truly live in happiness. You spoke about it earlier, Linus. I mean, for me, success really means like leaving this place better than when I got here, right? And for me to do that, I need to be filled. I start every single morning the same way. I remind myself how much I love myself, and it's like I gotta fill myself, because how am I ever gonna love you and love Yas and Nikki and Laura and Tyler and my kids and my wife, how am I able to give something that I haven't given to myself? So I start there. I start my day there, and that's how. Some would say, is it balanced? No, it's not balanced. It's obviously, you could calculate the hours I just gave you, how much I work and where I am. It's quite easy that it's not balanced, but I also understand that this is just the time of my life. I'm 39 years old. This has been a massive dream of mine where I wanted to give back in a way that felt right for me. And this feels right now. This might change in 2-3 years. We might be doing this podcast and I might say to you, yeah, man, I'm only working 2 hours a week. Why? Because I want to give everything to my kids, right? And give everything to my family. I just think it all comes back to self-awareness. I'm self-aware right now, knowing that if I wasn't at Monday to Thursday, those 13 hours, and on Saturday, I just wouldn't be happy, and I don't think I would be good for my kids, good for my wife, good for my family, because internally something would be missing. So I know I need to give that to myself first.
Yeah, and balance is a funny word because it doesn't mean like you're equally putting things on both planes or anything. It's making sure that you've got that balance that, like you said, self-awareness can bring you. You know what you need to balance yourself, right? I think that's more the important thing. I feel like self-awareness is becoming a bit of a theme in this show today too. It's great to talk to you about that.
Definitely. Yeah, man. And like when you spoke about just being busy, definitely very busy. There's lots going on in my life, but I have an amazing support team. I delegate a lot. It comes back to I haven't touched a computer in a little over 3.5 years. I have not logged on to, here in Toronto, you have an authenticator, a password on your phone. I don't even have that. I haven't been on MLS for over 3 years, and yet we still help a little over 650 buyers, sellers, investors. Why? Because I know where I'm best. I don't write long emails. I put everything in a subject line. I ask my clients to put everything in a subject line, because it's going to psychologically make them not write much. So they get to the point. And most of the time the reply back is, when can we get on a call? I'm a phone guy. I still am. There's a massive red phone behind me because that's where I started. All right.
Is that your bat phone?
Yeah. Well, we do call it the bat phone actually. But so I just delegate a lot. Sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, no. I said, do you literally, sell from your office there? That's something that I saw in there too. It's everything's done right here. I sit here and I make it happen, but obviously through others, right?
Yeah, for sure. So this office that I'm in right now, this room that I'm in right now, it doubles down as my content / podcast studio, but also my sales office. So there's a couple of boardrooms here. I apologize, a couple of whiteboards here, a massive 75-inch TV, 4 cameras rolling. They're always up and running. And I do all so the process from my sales structure perspective is the business comes in, inbound calls. I also have what we call a real estate concierge. So I have my guy named Tyler. He's been with me for 7 years. He makes 50 outbound calls a day to my clients. A little over 9,640 people that we've been cultivating. One of the 50 touches a year that we do, 3 of the 50 touches that we do is him going outbound. And he's just calling saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, did you need a plumber? Did you need an electrician? Did you need a landscaper, a handy woman, whatever it is? It's no charge for that. We'll go vet it out. Even if you're in Timbuktu, Saskatchewan, we will go vet it out for you. Did you need a second set of eyes on your lease agreement? No? Great. Now that I have you on the phone, did you have an appetite possibly for an investment property? That's what his call is, okay? But he leads with value first. Once somebody says yes, then I do the initial consultation right from this desk. The second after I'm done, the person's already okay to move forward with either a new build or a resale. It goes to my new build division. It then goes to my resale division. If the client says, well, it's just not right, or I feel like it's not right for them, then we just stay in touch. So I'm able to do that all from here. So I haven't left the office for an appointment probably in about 4 years, coming up to maybe 5 years now, because I decided that I'm just going to do everything from here. I mentioned the 4 or 5 cameras. Those are always rolling, but I found a hack, and the hack is this. First and foremost, try to have slowly but surely build a team. Okay, but put that aside because somebody's listening and saying, dude, I don't have the money for that right now. No problem. Start with doing a 30 to 40 minute recording, because when you can do a 30 to 40 minute recording like we're doing right now, and if you two are nice enough, you'll hopefully give me the recording of this, because what my team's going to do, and you could do this at home, you don't have to do it to the tune of 20 pieces a day. Who cares? Most people haven't done 20 pieces in a year. So even if you can get to 1 a day, you take that 30-minute, 40-minute conversation, but now because you have it on video, you can do so much repurposing. You can take 3-minute little clips. You can take out the audio, put it out as a podcast. You can take that audio, put it into a software that spits out the whole transcription of what's said. But now you have everything in the written word. You can use that as a blog write-up. You can put it on your website, send it to your database. You can take still images of the video. Now you have some posts for Instagram. Go back to that full write-up that you had. Take little 140 characters, put that out on Twitter as a tweet, screenshot the tweet, put that back on Instagram. There is, in a 30 to 40 minute conversation recorded on video, a minimum of 12 to 15 pieces. Now imagine you stretched yourself, you pushed yourself a little bit, and you did that twice a month. If you did that twice a month, 2 hours, like it's literally an hour and a half max of actual recording. Add another couple of hours of editing if you're going to do it on your own, or pay, your niece who's probably 16, 17 and she'll do this in her sleep, or get on Fiverr. Like there's so many ways, right? You do that twice, you have 30 pieces of content, and now you have a post a day.
I love when you talk about your team, you actually name them as well. I have to say, there's so many people that we talk to, and they'll say like my, VP of this or that. They never actually say their names. To me,
wow.
What the feel I get about you is that your team is just so important. I think you said in correct me if I'm wrong, that you like to hire people that are smarter than yourself. And I think that's an amazing policy, by the way, but also it shows that, you do have that team that feels almost like a family. At least that's how it comes across in a lot of your content.
That means, it really, really means a lot, man. Even more than the kind words that you're saying about the content, because it's them. Like I'm literally standing on the shoulders of giants. Like these guys and gals, like they believe in me. They have the faith that I'm like, some of it I'm making it up along the way, and they know it because I've told them. Like I don't haven't been where we're going, guys. Like, we're taking this to the world, and I haven't been on the world stage yet, and we haven't had 20,000 people at the you know, what used to be the Air Canada Centre, but now the Scotiabank Centre downtown Toronto. Like, we haven't been there yet, and you know, we were at a content video, a media day a couple of days ago, and we were on a virtual stage. But I was laughing with one of my videographers. I was like, you understand that there's a good chance we're going to be at Wembley, and that holds 100,000 people. And yeah, I'm going to be on the stage, and we're going to be inspiring people. And like, I'm not just smoking, you know, like, I'm not just, you know, smoking something here and saying that. Like, I truly believe it. And it's because of them. It's because of the Yasses, the Lauras, the Bobbies, my business partner, who's just a gem. He's an amazing person. And having a business partner is very, very tough. Today's day and age, back in the days, whenever, but him and I are just really on the same page. But the team, we not only do I try to hire people that are smarter than me, I hire only on attitude. The skill, you know, everyone who's been hired here, the job that they're in right now was not what I hired them for. Like, it always works out like that, because I always tell them, look, just get on the bus. This bus is moving. We'll figure out your seat later. Chances are you're going to change what you want to do in your life. I'm going to try my best to reverse engineer it for you, Nikki. Like, just get on the bus. We'll figure it out later. And it's all based on attitude. And, you know, like that going back to speed, right? Like, I don't look at people's resumes, because I know I've exaggerated on a resume before, and I'm going to say 99% of people do. Like, what are you going to tell me on your resume? That you're not a good person? So I don't really need the time to kind of read that. What I am going to do is I'm going to bring you on, and I'm going to tell you that we're going to date for a little bit. Let's date for a few months. And if it works out, great. You're going to be here for the long term. But if not, let's both have the understanding that if you're not happy, then I'm not going to be happy. And if I'm not happy, you're not going to be happy. Let's just get started, and let's figure out where this goes. But understand that we might not be together for a very long time. I picture you here for a while because your attitude is good. Because I'm always concerned about, is Jas, one of my filmmakers, is he going to play nice in the sandbox with Steven, who's been here, who's my creative director, who's been here now for 5 years? But Laura, who is my VP, who's been here for, I think, 8 years now, is she going to play nice with the new people? Or is she going to go on some power trip, right? And so I'm always watching for that when it comes to my team, making sure that they're all going to play nice in the sandbox. We all don't have to sing Kumbaya every day, and we all don't need to be best friends, but we better understand that we are a family, and just like siblings. And I think there's a reason why I generally hire people with siblings, that have siblings, because you're gonna fight. We're gonna get in, under each other's skin sometimes, and that's okay. Just like siblings, we might not talk for 2 days, but we still love each other, and that's kind of the motto around here.
I got 2 questions, if you don't mind, and
sure.
and I love the content you got. First question is, you have great people, and I think that solves one of the issues that many people have, is they don't have great people behind them. But when they get the great person behind them, or great group of people behind, because they're building a team, and they're putting some of those measures in place, how does that conversation go with a client that's called you? You've talked to them about 2 different investment options. You got them onto one. And you say, now, how does that conversation go to convince them that your team member is going to provide as good, if not better, services than you? Because they're going to say, Jas, I want you though. Right? I want you out there showing me the properties, right? How are you able to hand that client over?
So definitely, at the start of I'm going to say about 2015 is when I started to give away all my resale stuff. Like when you said showings, for example, that's when I kind of 2015, 2016 is when I stopped actually showing properties. And the conversation was quite simple. It was Aaron, look, I want you to picture the process of you buying a home, or you listing your property for sale, very similar to kind of what would happen if you were going to get surgery. Okay, so I'm kind of I'm the surgeon, and I have a lot of doctors and nurses around me. They're very qualified. In fact, in most aspects of the sale of your property, in most aspects of you finding a new home, they're actually better than I am. Hands down, they're a lot better than I am, because they're more they specialize in that aspect of selling your property, in that aspect of helping you find a property. But I'm here. When it comes to negotiations, that's when you need the shark, and I'm the shark. That's why you and I are having a conversation even now. That's what happened 10 years ago when you purchased the property. No property will be sold, or there's no way you will buy a property without the paperwork coming to my desk first, me signing off on it, and you and I having a conversation. With that said, Aaron, I do need to let you know, Jennifer Popo's been a realtor on our team for 20 years, like 5 years even before we started. She's amazing. In fact, I'm scared of negotiating when I get in negotiations with her. Very capable. But you have my cell number. Call me when you need to. And I can tell you, over maybe the year of in 2016, maybe there's 7, 8, 12 people that that just didn't jive with. Now there's not even a client in my network that would ever expect me to show a property. It's just not what I do. And now, in fact, if somebody calls me, and my clients hear these podcasts all the time because I send it to them, I'm the worst listing agent of all time now because I don't know what the process is anymore. Like, I'm so far removed from that. However, what I'm good at is bringing in the business. So again, going back to that conversation of top of the funnel, my clients know, no, we're not going to have Jazz list our property. We're going to have one of his agents because they're pre-selected. And our 50 agents, they know, like, look, we get 1 bad review. That's okay. 2 bad reviews. We're having a conversation. 3 bad reviews. Look, something's just going on in your life. It's time to move on, right? And so our guys and our gals, I truly believe, are sharks, and so I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna match them with the right person. So I have 2 leadership roles, right? Kind of like working really closely with me. My VP, Laura Stewart, who handles all things new build. So a client will meet with me when it comes to a new build. They go through that 10-day cooling period / 10-day due diligence period. They go right into Laura's hands, and she's one of the most patient people I know, walks all of our clients through that. When it comes to the resale side, they're going to deal with Bobby Pume. He's our director of team operations. He knows, you know what? Aaron's going to not work well with Jennifer for whatever reason, but he's going to hit it off with Cheyenne. Linus is not going to be good with Cheyenne. He's going to be perfect with Luke. And so we just kind of got that down to I'm not going to call it an exact science. It's that hybrid between the art and the science. We got it kind of figured out.
Definitely. Before we finish off, because I feel like we could talk literally forever with you, Jazz, I just have one question for you. Again, we've taken a look at a lot of your content. There's one thing that stood out that is different than anything I've ever seen before. Tell me about Jass World. How did that start?
Wow. I've never had anybody ask me that question. It's really cool. So I don't know if you watched the cartoon back in the days, Bobby's World, based on Howie Mandel.
Yep. Yes.
It was one of my favorite cartoons. And so when we were thinking about personal brand, how do we differentiate who I am, who REC is, what is this, where does the podcast fit, where does all the content fit? We came up with, okay, you know what? We're gonna call this Jazz's World. We're gonna go with the branding of Jazz's World, and let's draw it out on a whiteboard. What is in Jazz's World? Well, Jazz's World is he has a passion on about sales. He loves to speak with entrepreneurs, and he is a real estate investor and likes to talk about investing into real estate. However, when a client wants to speak to me about investing into real estate, that's when after talking to me in Jazz's World, they'll then speak to an REC representative.
That's amazing.
And I got to tell you, too, I think to add to it, I think my wife has always subconsciously told me that I'm always in my own world. And so that had something to do with it.
She planted the seed.
She planted that seed.
Well, again, Jazz, thanks so much for having this conversation with us. But before we start signing off on the show, how can people get in touch with Jazz if they want to start that kind of funnel, the pipeline, getting into investing in real estate, and they're looking for someone to do it?
Well, I really appreciate that, guys. I was really here to just serve today, but I do appreciate the ability to have people get in touch with me. I think the easiest place is the one-stop shop to Jazz's World on my website. It's jastakhar.ca, JASTAKHAR.ca, and flirt around. I have tons of guides for salespeople. They're all free. I have tons of guides for investors, all free, nothing to sell, unless you're thinking about investing into Toronto real estate. I might be able to help with that if it's a match. And but just go flirt around the site, see what you like, download all the guides. If you're an investor and you want to use your cousin Charlie, go ahead, that's okay. And if you're a salesperson and I want you to take everything, rip it apart, like literally rip it off, imitate, assimilate, and then innovate. Like some of those guides I have for salespeople, they're like, it's been passed on, right? Like we all know the saying, success leaves clues. And so take it and then make it your own. Right at the start, I would suggest, after actually doing it and testing it yourself, then change it up and innovate. But just take it. It's all there. It's at that one-stop shop, my website.
And I can't recommend strongly enough Jazz's podcast. If you like what you're listening to now, you're gonna love what Jazz does. So check out his website. All the stuff will be there for that. He's got it in video format as well as any sort of podcasting service that you'd probably subscribe to anywhere, including this show too. So if you like this show, subscribe to us wherever you find your podcast online. We're going to be there too. Jazz is going to be there. Don't forget to leave reviews, start that conversation with us, leave comments. We love talking to people about the stuff that we talk about. You can also check out our website, livingthedream.show. You can check out or listen to any of our content that we do as well. And you can also head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.livingthedream.show, and you can watch all these podcasts and all the ones we've done in the past on demand. So if you'd like to get in touch with us, the best way to do that is just to send us an email, podcast@livingthedream.show. Again, Jazz, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a blast. Aaron, thanks as always. Everybody else, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.